right, happy Wednesday to everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's basic training covering the mobile app 101. We'll be looking at different pieces of the mobile app going around, getting a good tour of what new features are out there, and again, looking at useful cases that we can put different pieces into. Let's go ahead and kick this off with again, just an overview of what we're presenting here with the mobile app. This is a totally agnostic command and control interface. We work with iOS, but again, primarily with the Android and manufacturer specific devices. So your DJIs, Autel, Parrots, Skydios. We've again moving forward, getting more of these aircraft available to you. The interoperability and the functionality. We provide a UAS based ADSB. You can tell where your partners and again where your other neighboring agencies are flying, well, where they're what they're looking at, and again you can share your video and telemetry with them as well. In with that, we also offer ADSB on the controller itself. So we tie in with DJI, with Autel, and with others who provide those sensor packages so that you have real-time ADSB with manned aviation as well. We have a full flight planning suite, so we can do mapping, modeling, search and rescue operations. We have specific flight patterns for those, orbits, points of interest, as well as waypoints. You also have an adjustable telemetry bar. If you need more area to actually look at, you can have a condensed telemetry bar. Again, giving you more flexibility in how you use the app. Your sensor point of interest. Again, as we go forward with public safety aviation, we're always interested in keeping record of where our people are flying, what they're looking at, so that when again these FOIA requests come in, those Freedom of Information Act, Joe Q Public has the right to know exactly what you've been looking at. So that sense of point of interest serves as a protection, both for your people and the general public, so that you know exactly what they were looking at, you know exactly where they went. Also, with that, when we drop our markers, we have from the air the ability to highlight areas of information for others. So any fires, explosions, victims that we find, we can drop those markers in real time, making sure that everyone on the rescue ground knows exactly what's going on. One of the big pieces that again comes up quite often is the interoperability between Apple and iOS, Apple and Android. We try to utilize these two together. Again, Android moving more toward that piece of command and control, iOS more now of a dissemination platform. So where you can actually get that information. We've got folks that are on Apple pretty much primarily in their departments. That information can be shuttled over to you from that Android device that you're flying with. So again, we partner these two together, again, mitigating those effects of that pilot disruption by having that same user interface on either one. Again, that mission sharing feature also enhances that interagency communication so that you can be able to actually pull in your neighbors for when things go bad, or go to your neighbors when they have a bad day. One of the pieces that we always want to push, if you are having any issues, if you have a feature request that you'd like to push forward, please put this in as a contact. This is our DroneSense support line. It's manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And what we do, we try to again get back with you, even on those late nights when you're out on the flight line. Get back to you so that we can again let you know, give you the help that you need out there on the in the field. Now, one of the big pieces about getting into DroneSense Mobile App on your controller. First thing we have to do is get that program onto your controller. One of the easiest ways to do that is to come into your controller, go through your browser, and download from our actual support site. We can go in into our Foxfire or into your Chrome. What you want to do is hone in on support.dronesense.com. That gives you the doorway to get into the most precise build that we can get for your particular aircraft. So we'll start in with the what's new. We'll move over to the newest Android release, or in some cases, iOS if you need that as well. But you're looking for that what's new in DroneSense Mobile. That will take you to the release notes. This gives you any bug fixes, any new features that have come up. These will be listed by date that they were released. We'll tap on that dronesense.com for Android. And again, this gives us the ability to go not only the Android, but also the iOS build, Android from the Google Play Store. If you need that link, it's here. Any of our V5 aircraft, the Matrice, the Minis, the Evos, and the Max 4Ts, as well as other smart controller devices. If you have a Parrot, we have that build for you as well. And this is also where you can download Copilot for yourself. Now, once you're in there, you'll go to the link for whichever one you need to download. Download that directly to your controller since you're there, install it, and then you'll come to that next page where you're entering your organization ID. One of the things that we are constantly pushing and helping everyone to understand is if you type your organizational ID, this is going to be one of the first little tripping points to getting you into the system. So make sure that org ID that you were assigned, make sure that that's correct. Otherwise, your password, your profile won't work. Organizational ID first. We'll go ahead and put in our email, put in our password, and from there on, you have a 6-month session based on SOC 2 Type 2. 6-month session to where all you would need to do at this point would be to type in your 4-digit PIN number. Every time you do that sign on again, it'll be just that 4-digit PIN. Let's take a look through a chat right quick.
Road. I think I'm catching most of them as we go.
Thank you, Alex, for getting those as we're going through this. Perfect. Now, Cole had mentioned in here as well as if everyone's reading that ADSB. ADSB is, and we'll get to it here again in a second. But that ADSB is line of sight, so be very careful if you're on the ground and you pop up from behind a building or from behind some escarpment. You will be able to see more the higher up you go. Let's see. Again, jumping back into that initial sign on, getting everything set up. One of the things that you're going to find, you'll have up at the top bar your temperature and atmospheric readings, along with your missions. You're typically going to be working with 2 different buckets. First will be your fly mission. Those are going to be your missions that are, again, either regular flights like your rescue missions, your interdiction missions. If you have specifically addressed ones, this is where they will live. Any flight training, again, when we start talking about any training beyond COA, you're going to need that 107. So again, your flight missions will be here. Your COA missions will be back in that fly mission. But again, this allows you to separate those out for better reporting. You also have the ability to go in and join that last mission that you jumped into. So if you have to, for any reason, log out, log back on, you can again jump directly into that mission and not have to worry about going through and finding it. And again, that atmospheric readings will come up and you'll have that as a part of the record on your flight card. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's rock it out live. We've got our magic video link. This is tied to, again, our specific mission. And we'll start to look at what is out there for us when we start talking about getting into our missions, getting into our different SPOI. We'll take a look at all of those. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I'm going to go ahead and share a different page. Let's see here. Screen. You all see my screen out there? I think I lost. Let's do this.
I see your desktop.
All right, let me get. There we go. You have the city view out there. Is that just coming through?
Yeah, we got your controller screen. Remote.
Okay, perfect. All right, so as we start to again go around the horn, I'm going to take this out a little bit. Nice area down here in downtown Austin, Texas. We will confirm our open area. So as we start to, again, go around the horn with this, we'll start up here with our telemetry lines. First thing we come to is going to be our connection to our GPS. So satellite counts, GPS locks, and our lat long. That's going to be specifically for the drone itself. As we come over, we have our telemetry, our connection between the drone and the controller. So this is both the command and control as well as that video piece that's again going on. If you look here on the right hand side, this is a new addition. You have your sine wave along with your actual frequency. If we tap that, that takes us directly to our radio settings. Within those radio settings, we can again do either an auto channel. If you're having difficulty with your auto channel, we can turn that off and we can set our frequency. If you're further out from your commands set, further away from your controller, go ahead and hit that 2.4 gigahertz. That'll give you a bit more distance as far as connecting with that drone and getting that signal back. Again, your frequency and your data rates will be shown here. Keep in mind that as we go through, some of the information that is here is pretty deep. You can, again, have a lot of noise as we go through this. But if I come over and tap that next button, again, we're starting to look at our connectivity. The connectivity, one of the things I want you to hone in on is that lost right in the middle. That's going to be your lost packets. As that number grows up from 0, we're going to need to really start, honing in on what it is with our internet connection where we are. So if you're on a puck, if you're on your phone, if you're on your cradle point, make sure that when that starts to grow, we need to start looking at our connection. Now, next to that in red right now is the pre-flight. I did this specifically so that you understand this pre-flight can be done at any point in time, but it has to be done before you land. So as we go through, we can check off that we've got our weather conditions and our props and everything else we're good before we took off. Once we do that, that will turn green. Next to that, again, we have our battery settings. We have temperature settings, especially keep in mind that if we're in any type of summer heat, make sure to keep an eye on that heat and that it's not stressing the battery too much. One of the nice things too now is the fact that with your controller, we have the ability to see the thermal state. A lot of times you'll just be going along, be bopping along, you're out in the sun, all of a sudden you start, having your battery go down, your controller starting to get hot, you're not really understanding why. That sun is really beating down on it. But this allows us to look at what that thermal state is. Along that top line as well is our thermal settings. We can set, again, default is, again, just that thermal piece. But we can, from here, go directly to our palettes, select that white hot, black hot, as well as turn on our ISOs. Next to that is our, again, call sign for the pilot, any mission information as to which mission we're in. And keep in mind that when you're in a specific mission, you have a specific notifications list. So as you go through, kind of have in mind the big picture. If I have a different notifications piece in another mission that I would like to have, is if I see something out here, I have an explosion happen. I've got the small number of folks that actually know about this mission. Maybe it's time for me to back out of this mission and go into one where I know I have a much broader set of folks that are being notified so that they can have an understanding of what I'm looking at and what I'm watching. If I go to the visual navigation settings, again, those are on that same line. We can, again, go through our avoidance procedures, braking, our upward, downward notifications, and the obstacle avoidance pieces are all here on that top line. Then we can jump into our actual settings. If we need to go through and, again, find out in our general settings what our measurement types are, what our telemetry type is, as well as return to home, our ADS-B filter in here as well. Will not tell you what to do as far as how high you want that ADS-B filter, but having a good buffer of at least 100 feet before anything actually would appear on your screen is always a good rule of thumb. This is also where you can find your versioning to make sure that you're on the most recent version. In advanced, this is where we go for our device logs. Once we're in here, we can view those. And keep in mind that as we're going through, we can run through these, or run back up to the top. Anything in white is all right. Yellow is we need to start paying attention, but anything that we see in red is going to be an issue. So we're doing good here. We'll back out. And again, our next piece is that the drone settings. Your return to homes here, your max altitudes, and then your actual performance, let's see there. Return. Okay, so your return home is set in here, and manage fly zones. Just so everybody understands, especially if you are flying DJI, the QEP is dead. All right, so they basically opened up all of their flyways. So if you get an NFZ, you need to go through and update your drone. You've got, again, pieces in there that need to be checked on. Let's see. I'll come back to it in another, let's see. Yeah, I'll have to come back to that in another piece, but we'll again let you in on the fact that all of those NFZs are done. With their battery, your critical battery warnings, make sure those are properly set. And then the enable smart return to home. One of the things you need to understand about the smart return to home is if you are coming back with this on, the drone is actually dropping as it's coming back to the landing zone. This is fine and good if it's broad daylight, blue sky event. The drone can see where it's going. If it comes in and sees an actual obstacle, it can avoid. But know that if it's at night and you have this turned on and it starts that, it won't be able to see those obstacles in its way. So being public safety, being, again, safe about how we want to come home, have it come home at height and drop directly onto that landing zone. Your visual navigation systems, again, this is where we were here just a minute ago. This is directly from that top line, again, setting all those horizontal and vertical distances. And then our remote control settings. Here we can set those C1, C2, as well as the 5D buttons. If you have one of the plus controllers, you can, again, put those L buttons in here as well. Radio settings, again, from that top line. Different areas where we can, again, have that situational awareness of where our frequencies are and how our connectivity is, as well as our LED settings. Here we can enable this, turn off our all of our LEDs, or turn those back on. Now, enabled our AR markers, and then with that on, we can spin around and we can see exactly where our home point is. That's where, there we go. So on the screen, I've got my home point that is now 690 feet away. I can turn around and have that again show up on my screen as I'm moving left and right. Let's go back into those settings. We also, again, have different areas which we have overdue maintenance that will show up on our drone, as well as give us the ability to go back in and format our SD cards. Further down the side, I'm going to turn it on because I am in a VFR pattern, is our strobe. We can turn that on. We have our, again, thermal palettes as well as our other video settings. So our center point, we can turn that on. Autofocus, thermal palettes, and then our resolution. Next to that, camera modes with our ISO apertures. Again, things that we can use if we're flying in an area where we're needing to look underneath a darkened area, patio areas, underneath overhangs. We can, again, set that here. Now, along that telemetry bar at the bottom, We have, again, information on our gimbal angles. If you look down at the very bottom, you have your drone and home distance. So I have my distance to home and also my actual attitude toward my drone. So as I move my controller, I can see, again, that attitude toward it move. Oop. There we go. As well as the drone at the bottom. If I turn it, you'll see that that drone will turn directly back toward the home point. Speed. One of the beautiful points that was brought up and is now in the system is that we have AGL, HAT, and MSL all directly on the screen. There's no left and right swiping to get all of that information to you. If we tap on our map, again, we can see that sensor point of interest, as well as our breadcrumbs back to home. So that sensor point of interest moves along with us as we have our gimbal angle across that 15-degree down bubble. So we know exactly what we're looking at. One of the things to mention too, as we're going through, the screen itself is interactive. So if we come through, we can, in wide and in zoom, tap and hold and move the gimbal. In this case, the drone is moving to, again, give us more of a control over that. But on the screen, tap and in any direction, move that gimbal. Once it's actually perched, it can do that as well. We can use our fingers in zoom to actually come back out and into our zoom pieces. We can double tap a specific area on the map and go directly to it. So if I want to double tap the building all the way on the left, that comes into my sensor point of interest. Right. Let's move into the mapping piece. If we come in again to the side into our map, we can again pull that out of the way so we can get more real estate. We can drop our different markers. So if we have an explosion that happens along this line, it's going to be construction area down here. We have that explosion. We can now map that out on the controller. That will push out to anyone who is on either OpsHub app or the OpsHub on the computer system. That way they can see exactly where that hazard is. They have the ability to have information on exactly where the coordinates for that particular incident is. And we have the ability to share that out, Bluetooth or online. Now, let's go into our flight planning. Within the flight planning, again, we have our different actions. We have the more generic waypoint, orbit, and survey that you're typically going to see. Low battery. So your waypoint, your orbits, and your surveys. Here we also have sector search, line search, and parallel search. So these are more that have been put into the system to, again, extend what we can do with DroneSense. So if we wanted to have, per se, a line search, this allows us to take that line search and put it directly along the highway. That way it's an up and back We can adjust how large of an area, width-wise, or by altitude. If we, again, want to come in and add in a grid search, we have the ability to push these out as well. Very interesting piece here is that we can pull those in and out, but we can also rotate those within the system. So again, very useful information, very useful flight patterns that have been put in. Let me go ahead and return home. And then we're going to jump back into share my screen again. Okay, so just as a point of review, the QEP is dead. Okay, so again, we want to make sure that as we go forward, our fly safe database, this is what we will need to go in on any type of DJI that you have and update that fly safe database. If you haven't yet, please feel free to do that. There we go. As well as in our mapping system. You may have noticed that in some cases you might have a map. In other cases, you may have addresses. In other cases, you may not. Understand that state by state, that can change. So you have partners down here in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, in these green states that have the ability to push those addresses out. You have other areas where that can get limited. That one's a little bit further down, but anything, again, anything that's in these purple areas, in like Oregon, South Dakota, those are going to be areas where you're not going to have those addresses lining up on the map. So be cognizant of that. As we're going forward, we're trying to put all those together and get you as much of that information as we can. At this point, what I want to do is go ahead and open up the floor to anyone who has any questions that they'd like to give to the group. Let's see. Let me go through and allow. You all should be getting those permissions here in just a second. Got a nice group today, so it's gonna try to get to the bottom of this. And again, as you get that permission, if you want to raise your hand, we'll go ahead and take questions, anything that you may have come across, or anything you'd like to see on the mobile app. Folks in here. All right, that should be everyone. see, Michael Mills. Anything to add this morning? Does anyone have questions or comments on either the flight planning, mapping, again, using the drone on the ground as you're maneuvering in a position where you're perched? Fire group this one. All right, what about my folks from CS and from DroneSense? Any questions, any comments that y'all like to add?
Ramon, I may have missed it. Did you cover dropping markers from the camera and this boy?
We dropped some out there. Let's see, that one that we put out right along the highway. I'll switch back over. So we used the spoy as we came around, and we were dropping that explosive hazard. Now, let's see, I've got 17% on there. As far as using the spoy itself, we can put that spoy directly on that point, jump into our markers, drop that, drop whatever marker we want on that direct area. Let's see, let me turn this off too.
I can pull up a video I've got recorded if that helps.
Yeah, let's see what you have on that end of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got this one on the ground right now.
I'm gonna replace your share here.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So just want to make sure you guys understand or what I'm talking about here is how to drop markers from the camera view. And I think Ramon showed you can drop those markers from the map view, and we'll just drive it home one more time from the camera. So I've already got my drone in the air. Of course, on the map, we're displaying the sensor point of interest or SPOI. This buoy visible for the pilot when he looks at the map view. Also, any other pilot that is looking at the map can see where another pilot's buoy is or where they're looking. SPOI is also displayed in Operations Hub so that anybody monitoring it can be able to see in that exact location. This is going to be Operations Hub on the web and also on the OpsHub mobile app. So I'm going to fast forward this a little bit, get to the camera view. And when you're in the camera view, everyone should see this crosshair on the screen. This is going to be set or turned on under the camera settings, and this will just help you visualize where you're going to drop a marker. So I'm going to hover here over the ground in just a second, and you're going to tap on the marker icon on the left side of the screen, and it's going to bring up the list of markers just like we would see in the map view. Choose one from the list, and then there's going to be a white rectangle displayed on the screen. Tap that white rectangle, and you're going to get a notice, and it's going to say sensor point marked at skateboard.sharply.toddler. And anybody from the group know what that 3-word randomly seeming words are?
3 words.
Thank you. Yep, Brian, what 3 words? So if you guys don't know what 3 words is, I'll just cover this briefly. Someone came with an idea to divide the world into 10-foot grids, I think specifically 3-meter grids, but they assigned 3 random words to each 10-foot grid. There's an app out there called What 3 Words, and you would type in that 3-word combination, you'd be able to see where that marker is. Potentially a lot easier than trying to share, a multi-decimal grid coordinate, especially if you're using decimal format for latitude and longitude. If you're using USNG, maybe it's a little easier, but this is one that's pretty easy for people to use. So we're going to show you the what 3 words when you drop a marker on this buoy. I'm going to drop one more marker on the other side of the screen. select the marker on the left side, choose the marker, tap the white rectangle, and you've got a new what 3 words coordinate. Now, what 3 words is helpful if you're trying to talk to somebody sort of outside of your DroneSense platform. If they have access to DroneSense, the markers are going to be shown on the map immediately, which is what we're seeing here. And in fact, today, if you go to the same mission, you're going to see those markers are still there. So if you're working inside your department, people have access to DroneSense. What 3 words may not be important, but you're talking to someone outside of your department, or maybe someone that just doesn't have access to DroneSense. What 3 words is a good thing to consider. So I'm going to pause for a second and come back to a question I saw in the chat, and that was, is there an icon for a suspect if we are tracking? The list of icons we have, there's, I think, 10 total. There's some, just another, just below this line. We don't have one specifically for suspect. We have a lot of other ones that are available on the web. On the controller, we only have this list. So you have to come up with one that works for you. Suspect, maybe it's going to be a civil danger warning. So you have to just come up with your own method, your own kind of map choices, and go from there. Okay. So back to our SPOI. A couple things are important is on all of our aircraft, or this feature is available on all of our aircraft that we support. The only thing that can happen, or the couple things that can happen. Number one, the camera has to be at a certain angle. It has to be above, or rather below 15 degrees and above 90. So watch here in this demo, the camera is going to tilt up above 15 degrees. The SPOI will disappear. There we go. We're going above 15. SPOI disappears because we're looking off the horizon. Return back down at 15. It returns, and then again at 90. So this should work generally as long as your camera is between 15 and 90. Another thing that can happen, and this recording is a little older, but if a hat is missing or height above train is missing, it's not going to be able to calculate that. The other thing is if you're flying the M30 with a laser rangefinder, we're going to default to using the laser rangefinder first, and then we'll switch to doing math off the camera and the resolution if something like that, if it's not going to be working. So that is dropping markers from there. I'm seeing a couple other questions in the chat. One from Kong. That is, you're asking about augmented reality to view icons in the camera view. Yes, we do actually have it. It is part of our geospatial package. Don't know if we can demo that here right now, but it is something that if you've got geospatial, it should be active for your account. If you want to see that in action and you want to try it for yourself, let us know. We can get one of our sales guys to get it turned on for a trial for you. It is very helpful to see those instead of having to switch back and forth between the map. So, all right.
The last little piece I think I wanted to go over, which kind of ran over. Let's see. Let me go back to this view. Is again, when we're here, one of the big things in my time on the fire truck, it was very important to make sure that your pilot is, literally doing piloting things. Your VO is your first line of defense of, just any type of radio contact that has to happen, VO does it. Anytime someone walks up and wants to talk to the pilot, they talk to the VO first. But if in case someone comes up, they need that piece of being able to get into that video on the controller itself, up on your connectivity, over on the very right hand side is your share video code. There's your magic video link, and it's magic for sure. It is your shield to keep everybody from around you looking over your shoulder, and again helps them to take that link and go. So if you never need to have someone get in, that's happened too many times, or you have either an engineer or chief or someone else that wants to look over your shoulder, that gives them every opportunity to have that video feed and walk away. So keep that in your back pocket as well. That is on all of our different aircraft. So that magic video, once it's turned on in your mission, it will appear here. If you get to that and you don't see it, definitely go back and check. Make sure that your dates are good. One of the things that we'll come across as a trip hazard is dates on your initial mission will be set, but then your magic video link, it was only for a day or two, and now it's expired. Your share code, same way. Once your share code is expired, you won't be able to share with your neighbors. So keep check on those dates, make sure that they're good, and those will all appear there. Any other questions? Put that in the chat. Y'all can have the ability to raise your hands and ask a question. Again, love having those questions, love having, the ability to kind of address different things that you may see. Anyone run into issues with, again, just kind of dying out, either past any type of RF or, distance wise, in between buildings, see a definite degradation in your usage? It's nice and quiet. All right. Well, again, like I say, everyone that's on this panel, again, Alex, Cole, Coit, our other confidant, David Spraggs, we're all stand ready to, again, give you whatever assistance we can. Let's see. How do I get the magic video link again? That is going to be on the OpsHub itself. Tell you what, since we've got it and we talked about it, let's go ahead and jump over there and see what that looks like. I'm going to jump into let me share this. All right, so we're back here in DroneSense. We're going to go into our OpsHub. As we hear, we can automatically see I've got account set up, the set that is actually active. It is that green information icon. I can go into that mission. Here I have my mission details, and right next to it is my magic video links. When I go into that link, I've got that named specific link that's there. Here is my end date. And here is that code. So I can tell already it's been viewed 62 times. I can pull up that code. That is the one that was in the presentation. That code is also attached to a link. That link goes out with the notification. So think of the notification and the link as two different pieces. This code is a doorway. So I can set up 3, 4, up to 7 different doorways that all get to the same mission. The system at the controller will always pick the one that's going to expire first. It'll take that one, copy that link, and send it with the notification. So what happens is if you have a expired link, the notification will go out, but no link will go with it. That's where you will run into the piece where on the controller, you'll try to tap that share video and get that no magic video link because it has expired in the background. So make sure to check this date for your magic video link, as well as going in and checking your sharing code, because again, with this one is expired. So if I come in, I can edit this. I can push this to 2026. I can submit, and then it's right back on. So again, keep that in mind as you're going forward, getting those missions taken care of and getting them set up, especially when you start talking about standing missions. Those need to be set out to where you always know that for the next foreseeable future, I can always jump in. I know exactly who's going to be notified and whether that video link is going to go out with it. Questions on that? Let's see. All right. Here's a street overlaid on the camera view. Again, with the street names overlaid on the camera view. That again is going to be something that we can do with GIS's help within the OpsHub. But as far as on the controller itself, that is what we're working up to. That map that I showed you of the US, different areas have different rules about sharing that type of information as far as addresses, who lives there, any number of different things that you're going to find with your comptroller's office. That information again is very it's locked down depending on where you are. Cole makes a very good point in here as well. When you initially come in to anything that is date related in DroneSense, they're always set for a 24-hour period. So keep that in mind. If you come in, set up a mission, don't do anything other than create it, tomorrow when you come back at the same time, it will not be available for you. It'll be there, but it'll be expired. So any date is set for an initial 24-hour period. So Jonathan, the way what three words work was like Alex pointed out, when you're using your sensor point of interest to assign that specific marker, that comes up, you can send that out. We don't have what three words right now within the map, within OpsHub or within DS. No, Alex, we don't have that ability to do that on the control yet, do we?
No, to search for what three words, we don't currently have that on the controller.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
again, it'll be a case of you can easily, go back through at that point. You will have on the map and on your controller, you'll be able to tap on that point that you dropped and view the actual coordinates. That you can pull in a DroneSense, that you can push around as well. And that information, like I said, it will always be viewable by everyone else within that mission. Let's see.
Hey, Ramon.
Yeah, I'm looking at Mike.
Yeah, so I think that's what I was kind of thinking he was asking. So are you able just to pull up your controller real quick and then go over to the dashboard there and then click on the shared link for Mike?
Share that out. We're talking about the so to send, so we can copy that. We can
No, hey Ramon, I think what he's looking for is a magic video link.
Ah.
Sure, there it is, just on the far right hand side. Mike, can you see that where it says share video? If you click on that, the QR code pops up, and then that's where you can walk over and share that with command staff or any of the other agencies that you have with you. Is that track?
Got it. Yeah. So again, there's a lot of different links that are along that top end. So as you're going through, let's see, there we go. The radio signal between your drone and the controller, that's where you can get to your radio settings. Over here in DS, this is where, again, we're looking for that number of lost packets, but it's also where we can have that share video. So again, as we go across, 1% battery right now, that's running at 124. Right now, it's still within tolerance, so it's okay. It's a nice cool day here. But again, my device is inside showing normal thermal state. All that is on that top edge. So if you do wind up having a piece of interest with, hey, I'm in a tight spot, what are my visual navigation settings right now, and how close can I get to stuff? This is all set up to be as user friendly and as, just have the thought, and you should have that information right there. Very intuitive. All right, we are about a minute from time. Any other questions? Again, Mike, Jonathan, Brian, thank you all so much for the questions. Kong, thank you as well. Brian. Let's see. Thanks, Jeff. Like I said, it's always fun to be on stage and move around. Let's see. All right. Again, thank you all for your time. That's the time we've got for today. Don't worry about course credit. We've got that handled on the back end where we go through and we'll again get all of the folks that logged in. We've got your information. We'll send you the course certificates at the end of this. All right. You all have a great rest of your day. Take care. Stay safe out there. And again, fly safely.